And the third one, he is the taxpayer, though, right?
I believe it's not the tax.
Oh, you believe he's not? Okay, so we'll inquire about that. All right, are we streaming and recording now? Yes. All right, what we're going to do, everybody was moved into the panelists to find out exactly who had participating today. So we're going to move everybody out back to attendee except Mr. Adden and Mr. Madison Morgan. And of course, Linda. Linda Garrett is our stenographer. And it's my understanding we don't need to swear anybody on this first matter. And this is Novemeber Properties Whirlpool Holdings LLC. County is represented by Mr. Adden, and I understand there's no AB 63 or notice of appearance filed on behalf of the appellant. Mr. Madison Morgan, this is, I'm informed that there's no proper AB 63 or notice of appearance filed on behalf of this LLC.
Yes, no, that's not correct. What happened is I had mailed that letter way ahead of time, and it was it had run through our postage machine, and it didn't get a postmark. And when I mailed that letter, I knew that there was nobody even working in the mailroom down in Raleigh. I said, well, they'll get it, whatever. And they received it the following week. It was like it should have been there by Friday, and I think they got it there on Monday. And but I don't. And then they said that it didn't have a postmark, so that I was late, which is not really fair. I think there's everybody understands the situation that's going on with the pandemic. But I also sent a letter. I sent a copy of it to the Mecklenburg County Assessor's Office and to Mr. Adams' office. And if Mr. Adams would do full disclosure, that he would obviously tell you that he did receive the letter in time. And, I don't think that he should take an adversarial position against one of the cities, the persons of Charlotte that just wants a fair hearing on their tax value. I just don't think that's right to even be here. And then his motion here is, it really doesn't make much sense to me. I don't understand why they said they postmarked, they ran their mail through the postage.
Well, let me stop you here for a minute. I think what you're talking about mailing is your notice of appeal. Is that, as I understand it? What we're talking about, that to appeal on behalf of an LLC, you have to file an AB 63 form or have an attorney. I assume you're not an attorney?
No, sir. I just didn't realize that. They were what they told me was my letter received at the Department of Revenue in Raleigh a day late, and so that was why they're trying to dismiss this. I wanted a hearing. I thought today was that, and then when I got this letter, this hearing, it really didn't say whether I was going to have my this was in reference to Mr. Adams' motion here, or if I was under the impression this was going to be my hearing for my appeal, to let you guys know my side of the story why I'm appealing this tax value.
Well, we can't get to the appeal, and we won't get that to that today. It's on for their motion to dismiss, but there is a form that you...
I think Mr. Bethune, Mr. Adams should drop his motion, because I sent him a letter, and if he would do just full disclosure, he would know that he received it in a timely manner. I mean, the deadline was on Friday, and the mailroom guy in Raleigh said he got it on Monday, which, the mailroom, as far as I understood, when I mailed it, was closed for the week from the pandemic. So
let's hear from Mr. Adden a minute and see if we can help. Let's hear from Mr. Adden a minute. He filed this motion, see if we can help get things straightened out, to see what we can do today. Mr. Adden?
Yes, thank you. I mean, this is on the county's motion to dismiss. I'm getting a little bit of feedback, but bear with me. It involves Mecklenburg County tax parcel 080-21414, which is property at 1124 Central Avenue in Charlotte. The BER decision, the BER hearing was on February the 20th, 2020, and the written decision was dated March 2nd, 2020. We have an affidavit from Brooke Millard, who's responsible for mailing the BER decisions. This particular decision was actually mailed on February the 28th. It was mailed a couple of days before the date. But of course, for purposes of this motion, the taxpayer would not know that it was mailed on February 28th. It was dated March 2nd. So purposes of this motion, the date of mailing is March 2nd. As you know, the taxpayer has 30 days to file an appeal with the PTC. 30 days would be April the 1st. Based on information from the Department of Revenue, the appeal was filed on April the 6th, so he was 5 days late. So we filed our motion to dismiss. It's untimely to the PTC. The affidavit from Brooke Miller confirms that that it was mailed, and so therefore we would ask that this appeal be dismissed.
All right, let me, did you get your copy on time?
I don't know when I got my copy. In fact, I don't even see a copy of the documents in my file. That doesn't mean it's not in. It could be in my office, but I don't have a copy of his appeal papers with me in my file here.
All right. Is there a copy of the notice? I don't have a copy of what came in. I only have a copy of the motion.
The April 8th, 2020 letter from the Property Tax Commission states that the county's notice was apparently mailed on March 2nd, and your notice of appeal to the commission was filed on April 6th. If the county's notice was in fact mailed on March 2nd, then the 30-day period would have expired on April 1st. That's from the Department of Revenue's April 8th letter.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, hold on a second. Let's see what we have in the file.
Mr. Chairman, we are showing an AB-14 form along with a copy of the county's notice of decision, along with additional information sent by the property owner and received by the Department of Revenue on April 6th, 2020. Subsequent to that, as Mr. Adden indicates, our office acknowledged receipt of the appeal by letter dated April 8th, 2020, and in that letter indicated that based on the information supplied, it appeared that the county's notice was mailed on March 2nd and would have therefore been due in our office on April 1st. There is no postmark on the envelope. There is a Neo-Post postage meter stamp. It does, March 31st, 2020.
Mr. Morgan, what day did you say you mailed the notice?
It sounds like I mailed it on March 31st. There, if we stamp something here, we have to, we don't change we cannot change the date on our postallion machine or whatever it is. And we always mail it that same day. So that's the day I mailed it, March 31st. And I know the Mecklenburg County Assessor's Office got theirs probably the next day, and Mr. Adams' office got theirs the next day here in Charlotte. And like I said, I knew there was a problem with the mail office in Raleigh. That was the very height of the pandemic lockdown. And they say they didn't get it in their office till the 6th, but they were closed the entire week. And they said that if it had been postmarked, it would have been all right. But I didn't realize that, and I just ran it through the postage machine and mailed it. and I would have mailed it on March 31st. I would not have waited over 30 days to do it. I knew there was a 30-day timeline, and I didn't realize it needed to have a postmark. I didn't realize they were, it had to, the way their procedure, I was told, was when it doesn't have a postmark, they consider it the day they received it as the day it was filed, that's what I would like for you guys, if I could, just get this motion dismissed and get a fair hearing. I just don't think that's fair, especially with the pandemic. I think everybody's seen this going on across the country. They allowed the voters to vote 3 days late, but I mailed it on March 31st. The day it has the postage machine mark on there is the day I mailed it.
All right, let's see, did you mail out about the AD 63? Did you mail that out?
Mr. Chairman, along with the acknowledgement letter dated April 8th, our office mailed copies of Form AB 63 with instruction to return those within 30 days of the date of the notice of appeal, which was April 6th. It would have been May 6th that was due.
Mr. Morgan, did you get the notice that you have to fill out when you're
No, sir, I did not.
a business industry? Did you get the letter saying yours was late?
No, I did not. No, I did not.
You didn't get the letter back you didn't get the letter back from the Department of Revenue dated April 6th?
No, sir. All I got was a notice of dismissal from Mr. Adams' office. He filed a complete filing here that really doesn't make much sense about mailing stuff out. I don't know why they would say they mailed something on March 2nd. This I don't even believe is true. That what he sent me on his motion to dismiss, where they say they're mailing stuff out on the 28th and it was the 2nd or whatever. That's not true. He just needs to check his office and give full disclosure here. He received the letter the following day after I mailed it, and so did the city assessor's office. I'm sorry, the post office and the mail office in Raleigh was shut down for a week. I didn't realize I needed to have my letter postmarked and all. That's just the story.
But did you not get the letter back from the Property Tax Commission about when they received your notice of appeal and a form in it that you need to fill out?
Someone actually called me from the office. I didn't get a letter. The only thing I got was the letter from the motion to dismiss from the city attorney. That's all I received. But somebody did call me and tell me my letter was late, and that was the reason for dismissal. And I didn't think that was fair, but they called me on that Monday or Tuesday and told me that they received my letter late. But I never did receive another.
What was the address it was on? What was the address that it was mailed to?
Mr. Chairman, the acknowledgement letter was mailed to 4124 Tapperty Circle, Charlotte, North Carolina, 28226-1901. That is the same address that is shown on Form AB 14, the same address that is shown on the county's notice of decision, the same address shown on the notice for today's hearing.
All right. What's that? Can I have something and I'll read it to him? I'm sure he can hear yours. Could you hear, Mr. Morgan, could you hear the address that Mr. Pelfrey read out?
Correct.
Is that your correct address?
Yes.
Okay. Well, technically, Mr. Morgan, you can't represent the company until you file that form. Let's go off the record for a minute and go into session here and see what we can come up with. We'll be back with y'all shortly.
Thank you.
Okay, all right, we've discussed the county's motion, and Mr. Morgan, technically, we couldn't hear from you as to testimony. You couldn't represent the company, but we went ahead and considered your remarks for the purpose of this morning. Mr. Adden and Mecklenburg County filed this motion, and the commission has voted unanimously to grant it. We have no, I've been advised by our counsel, we have no discretion to grant this late appeal. This is a jurisdictional matter. The letter that you received from the county on March 2nd sets out the statute that we have to go by, and we have a case on point that directs on this, and it says the appeal must be received by the commission or postmarked by the United States Postal Service within 30 days from the mailing. And we have a case on point that had a postage meter like yours, but it wasn't Postal Service, and we had to dismiss that one as well. So I understand your frustration in dealing with this and the COVID and everything. The legislature has discussed granting some relief in certain areas, but it has not done so on this timeline. So we're bound by that statute and by the case, and we have no discretion, and so therefore we had to dismiss your case. And I appreciate you coming before us this morning, but that was our only alternative. All right. And you have a right to appeal to the North Carolina Court of Appeals. It'll be set out in your letter when you get your dismissal notice from this commission.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
All right. Thank you for your time this morning. Bye-bye.
Sure. Mr. Adden, we have another one. I guess it's here. We still don't have our first case, a taxpayer who appealed, Ms. West, online yet, so we'll go ahead with the next case, and that is the Ellis Broker Lindsay case.
Correct.
And can we get Mr. Lindsay?
Yeah, I'm here. Let me start my video.
Okay.
There we go.
Now, let's see, this one is here on motion to dismiss as well. And Mr. Lindsay, you represent, are you Ellis Broker Lindsay, Mr. Hal Lindsay?
No, Ellis is my my daughter. She is at work. She works in a restaurant, and that's been significantly affected by the COVID, of course, and working twice as much for half the pay. So I told her I would help her with this. I'm essentially retired, live in Charlotte as well, and have another daughter and son-in-law that live in Charlotte as well. So, you have my letter back to the general counsel in response to the motion to dismiss.
Wait a minute, Mr.
Excuse
Lindsay,
me.
hold on.
I just
we
want to
gotta
make
keep-
sure that I haven't seen an ID for Mr. Lindsay, and I'm
We're gonna
not sure
see
he
if he-
needs to be sworn.
That's what we're gonna find out right now.
Okay, thank you.
He can't appear for his daughter. Mr. Lindsay, you cannot appear on behalf of your daughter. Our rules do not allow that. You're not an attorney, I take it.
Thankfully not.
Okay. But let's look
I think
at
that's an asset as well, so.
Well, sometimes it can be. I disagree with you. I've been proud about the profession, but anyway, you don't have to be an attorney to be on this commission. We don't make those rules, but we have to go by them. And let's hear from the county a minute on the motion to see if this is one that we need to continue to get Mrs. Lindsay here, and if we need to continue it, Mr. Lindsay, we'll try to set it when she can be available. But let's see if it's going to be worthwhile to try to do that, or if we have no discretion, as we had in the last case, it may not matter. So you can.
Mr. Hunter, I represented Ellis at the county's appeal directly in person, and so I would not have assumed that I couldn't handle this for her directly, as it's a subset of the appeal itself. This motion to dismiss. Look, we don't dispute that we sent it in 2 weeks late. That's not a dispute. It's the issue of fairness and consideration. And what's fair. The county doesn't care. I think somebody should care. I mean, we were facing a pandemic of a worldwide issue, and it's like you got 30 days. That's all. Doesn't matter what was going on. Doesn't matter that the governor effected an executive order on March 30th to stay at home. Doesn't matter. 30 days. That's it.
I understand. Let's hear from Mr. Adden a minute, and we'll see, but let me double check. He can appear at the Board of Equalization Review at the county level and on behalf of his daughter, but not here. Am I correct in that, Mr. Pelfrey?
Mr. Chairman, there are some counties that permit a family member or someone close to the appellant to appear as a courtesy. At the commission, it's not permitted pursuant to direction from the state bar.
All right.
So that's a regulation, sir, Mr. Pelfrey?
Well,
that's a regulation, or is that that's just an administrative issue?
The regulations have the force of law, Mr. Lindsay, and we can't overturn those. So that's not something that we have discretion to overturn. Well, let's hear from Mr. Adden in a minute, and we'll let you make some comments and see if we need to continue it to let your daughter have a chance if you think there's something where there might be some relief available. If there's a way to have relief, we try to give the taxpayer an opportunity to have a hearing. But there's certain times when there's jurisdictional matters when the law and the courts have said we cannot hear a case. And so that's what we have to see if that's where we are today. And the other way to change that is to talk to your legislator and see if they think it could be changed to grant some relief. We don't have that power. Let's hear from Mr. Adden in a minute, and then I'll give you a chance to say some things to see if it would matter, and if it will help, we will continue it until your daughter can be present. If it's something we do not have any discretion, it won't do any good for us to continue it. So let's hear from Mr. Adden for a moment here. Mr. Adden, in this matter of 20 Property Tax Commission 270 from Mecklenburg County, you filed a motion to dismiss. We'll hear you at this time.
Yeah, the facts are set forth in the motion. There's an affidavit of mailing from Brooke Millard, who supervises the mailing of the BER decisions. The BER heard the case on February the 4th, 2020. The written decision was dated March 2nd, 2020. It was just like the last case that you heard. The case was mailed, the decision was mailed out, is mailed on February the 28th, but for purposes of this motion, the date of mailing would be March 2nd, 2020, the date of the decision. The taxpayer had until April 1st to file the appeal. The BER decision that was mailed out, all of the county's decisions state the appeal must be received by the commission or postmarked by the U.S. Postal Service within 30 days from the mailing of the county's board's notice of decision. So clearly we spell out in all our decisions, you have to mail it it has to be received within 30 days or it has to be postmarked by the U.S. Postal Service within 30 days. According to correspondence from the Department of Revenue, that after the PTC received the appeal, the Department of Revenue sent a letter of April 23rd, 2020, stating that the notice of appeal was filed on April the 16th, and the deadline was April 1st. So clearly they were 2 weeks late. As Mr. Lindsay just alluded to, the facts really are not in dispute. They were late in filing with the PTC. This is jurisdictional. The PTC does not have jurisdiction to hear a case where the statutory requirements are not met. It's clear that the statutory requirements were not met here. The appeal was 2 weeks late. The facts about COVID and everything we was sympathetic to taxpayers on that, but again, our hands are tied, and we believe the commission's hands are tied, and there's no reason to continue this matter. The facts aren't in dispute. It was late, and the PTC does not have jurisdiction.
All right, Mr. Lindsay, you've heard Mr. Adden. I don't know, could you hear the case before us, the one that we just heard before this case, Mr. Lindsay?
I sure did.
Okay. And it appears we have the same set of circumstances here, unfortunate as they may be, but the statute does not give us any discretion, and we have a court case on point. And the other one, they had a postage meter even, but that does not suffice. It has to be received here, or it has to be postmarked by the United States Postal Service before the 30 days. We don't have any jurisdiction to hear the case. And so even though it's a COVID-related matter, and we might, if we had discretion, be willing to work with your daughter on this, we don't have any discretion in this matter. So the only way to get relief is for the legislature to give relief, and they have not chosen to do so. So our hands are tied, and it won't do any good if we continue it to let your daughter come and under these same set of circumstances.
Well, Chairman Hunter, that's disappointing that in the face of COVID and all that, and everyone says their hands are tied and no one's willing to step up and do what is the right thing to do and to be respectful of people trying to at least adhere. I could have just not sent it, and I would have been extremely disappointed. It appears that it's just government hiding behind government greed, as Mr. Adden is paid by the county to make sure that I have to pay and my daughter has to pay as much tax as possible.
I'm going to object to that, Your Honor.
Well, Mr.
Your Honor,
Lindsay,
I'm objecting to that.
I understand.
I'm sorry, Perry Mason, but gee whiz.
All right. If we had some discretion, then I think you'd have some members on this commission who would certainly be willing to work with your daughter and the case before us. However, we have the laws that we have to go by, and if they say that we don't have discretion to hear it, we can't hear it regardless of your meritorious or your daughter's meritorious circumstances. I wish we did. But we don't, and the only ones that can change that is the legislature. So if you want to talk to them, certainly, or your daughter, or you can do that as a private citizen. Your daughter can appeal. You'll get a letter with our decision when we make it, and it'll set out your or her appeal rights. Is there anything else that either one of you want to say before we vote on this matter?
No, Your Honor.
Is there anything, Mr. Felford, we need to know about this other than what's been pointed out?
No, Mr. Chairman.
You want to go off the record? You want to go ahead and just vote on the motion? All right. We're going to go off the record and vote on this motion, and we'll be back with you. Are you okay? I thought somebody said that she was trying to get in. Are we back up yet? All right, Mr. Waddell, Mr. Adden, I see you and, Mr. Lindsay. We're back on the record again. We discussed this matter and we've, voted unanimously. We're going to continue it, Mr. Lindsay, to allow your daughter to come in since you can't technically represent her. She'll have to do it or she'll have to have an attorney. And we don't want to dismiss it because she's not here and had an opportunity. However, I have to tell you, you should probably pass on to her that unless she has something different than what you've indicated, we won't have any discretion to hear her case, and we would have to dismiss it at that time. And so, but we will set it. If she wants to appear, we will set it when she's available. We do not want her to have to miss some work. So we'll be flexible with setting it. However, you understand what I mentioned to you about when we can hear a case and when we have jurisdiction and when we don't. Anything else? Go ahead.
So what you just said was if what we wrote is all that we have, then that's most likely not sufficient to do anything different than what to allow the motion to dismiss.
That's correct. We will not have any authority or jurisdiction in this case, and we would have to grant the county's motion to dismiss.
Now it is possible that the county could dismiss their motion, being benevolent or non-benevolent. I don't know which they will do, but that is a possibility that the county could dismiss the motion and allow us to go to appeal.
I'll let your daughter talk to Mr. Adden about that. All right.
Yeah, Mr. Adden will just read us the document again.
Well, I'm sorry. We don't have any further discretion at this moment, and we are going to continue the case if she wants to come and and have her say on this motion to dismiss, which the county has filed.
Okay, we assumed you had more discretion, and we were looking for that because we knew that we were late. And
I understand.
It's disappointing, even that my county of 30 years would even suggest this, but with no discretion. So
if we had some discretion, I think this commission would view this case differently.
Well, the discretion, exactly. I agree with you, sir. It sounds like the discretion is at the county level.
Well, I'm not going to get into their situation, but the legislature could do something about it. But they certainly could do something about it. But that's the only one that could give us jurisdiction in the matter.
I have a different life role for work than dealing with the legislature. So that's a full-time, lifetime job. So but again, I just will say it's, I don't know whether you were on the commission 10 years ago when Mecklenburg County created a fiasco of a problem with reevaluations, and here we are doing it for the most part again. That seems to be the only consistent thing that happens in Mecklenburg County is that we can mess up a reevaluation very well.
All right. Anything further, Mr. Adden?
We'll take his comments under advisement.
Okay. Thank you very much. Let's see now. Does that take care of we have one that we hadn't heard from this morning. That's Hill Overlook LLC. Is that the last one you have, Mr. Adden?
That's correct. Yes, that's the last one for today. Then we have a full docket tomorrow.
All right. Have you had any contact with anybody on behalf of Hill Overlook LLC?
No, Your Honor.
Let me ask you, Mr. Pelfrey, is anything in the file?
Mr. Chairman, nothing in the file since the initial notice of appeal.
Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and hear this one. Anybody object to going ahead and hearing it? Taxpayer notified?
Yes, sir.
Taxpayer notified to be here today?
Yes, sir. By letter dated October 27th, 2020, all parties were notified of today's hearing.
Okay. So, all right, Mr. Adden, we'll hear you on your motion in 20 Property Tax Commission 243 and in the matter of Hill Overlook LLC, Randall Martin Mann.
This is just like,
Just a minute.
yes.
That are attendees. Oh, those county people. There's no AB4, I don't think. There's no AB. 63. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
There's no AB 63 in this one, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. You okay? All right. We'll go ahead and hear you in this matter, Mr. Adden, and let the file reflect that the taxpayer has not filed an AB 63, so we have nobody that's properly certified to be here on their behalf, and nobody, in fact, has appeared. Let me ask one more time. Can you bring up who all we've got online now? That was Morgan case. It used to be the first one. Yeah, sorry. Well, if you can put them all as a panel, let me just ask to see if there's anybody else here that we're omitting out. I don't think there is, but we'll see. Is that everybody? All right. Let me ask, it's my understanding, and I'm gonna call them out, Mr. Wardell, that Colleen Moore, Gino McCree, Dayar Dole, and Starling Beatty are all with Durham County. Is that correct?
That is correct, sir.
And those are the only ones on right now. We're still looking for Mrs. West or somebody from Hill Overlook, which apparently there's no one else online. So we're going to put you back as attendees, the folks from Durham County, and hear this motion, and then we'll decide what we can do with Mr. Waddell. Since you're still listening, have you had any contact with Ms. West recently?
Yes, I have. The stipulation, the pre-hearing conference to us via email yesterday, and I have informed that she has contacted our office this morning, attempting to sign in to the PTC hearing, but she's having problems. So she is making an effort to try and participate. As far as I understand, that's what I've been informed from the office, that she has made an attempt, but she is not able to actually access the hearing.
Did any of you others have a problem logging on this morning and getting into the hearing? If you have any problem, will you raise your hand? Anybody's had a problem? All right, Mr. Waddell, let me ask you this. Can you get somebody from the county to see if they can work with her to get her online so we don't have to continue this case? If there's any way possible?
My legal assistant is trying to assist her at this point. I don't know what technology she has. I think she may be able to call in. I don't know if she's got the capability to actually video conference.
All right, just a second to see Ms. Bendette. If we have her phone number, we can call her through the WebEx, I understand, and informed, and we can at least get her voice.
Mr. Chairman, I have a phone number for her.
We have a phone number for her. We're going to try to get her while we're hearing this motion, Mr. Waddell. We have a phone number for her. So can you do that at the same time we're doing this? All right, what we'll do, we'll hear this motion, and then we'll take a recess and see if we can get Ms. West while we're on recess. All right, so we're going to put everybody back except Ms. We'll put everyone back on attendee except for Ms. Adden and Ms. Garrett. Ready? All right, Mr. Adden, we'll hear from you.
Okay, this is a motion to dismiss untimely to the PTC, just like the other two that we heard today. The BER hearing was on February 20th of 2020. The BER decision dated March 2nd, 2020 was mailed out. It's an affidavit of mailing. The time to file the appeal with the PTC was April the 1st. According to correspondence from the Department of Revenue dated April 8th, the notice of appeal was filed with the commission on April 4th. So the deadline was April 1st. It was filed with the commission on April the 4th. And therefore the commission does not have jurisdiction to hear this matter. We've had no contact with the taxpayer at all on this.
All right. Was notice mailed to the taxpayer, Mr. Phelps?
Mr. Chairman, by notice of today's meeting, today's hearing was sent to all parties on October 27th, 2020.
All right. Anything further, Mr. Adden?
No, Your Honor.
Questions from the commission?
Mr. Crawford, let's work on the others.
Mr. Guest, there is a United States Postal Service mail label affixed to the envelope, and that label is dated April 4th, 2020.
So that would have been late also.
Correct. That's the date it was considered filed. It was actually received April 7th, but it was considered filed April 4th.
So you used the postmark date for the date of receipt. Any need to, no need to go into executive session to vote on this, I assume. So do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Commissioner Peasley moves to grant the county's motion to dismiss, seconded by Commissioner Guest. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor say aye. Aye, opposed nay, and the motion carries. All right, Mr. Adden, so you're through until tomorrow, is that correct?
Yes, and tomorrow I think we have one commercial appeal, one residential appeal, and one motion to dismiss on for tomorrow.
Okay. All right. For some reason my agenda is, I guess it got stuck in one of the files, but we'll take your word for it. We do know that we had several on from county, so we will see you tomorrow.
Okay, right, thank you very much.
Thank you. We're going to take a recess right now and it's not agenda. See if we can find out something about getting Midwest on line. Okay? and we'll be back, in approximately 10:30.
All the meters outside, I only gave till 11:30 this morning, probably an hour. Do you know if they add any orders, or wait till 11:30?
Well, I don't know how long this case is gonna take. This is the West case. It said, I think, like 30 or 45 minutes for each